Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. What is the real reason that the Democrats picked Tim Walz to run as VP for Kamala Harris? The answer may shock you. Let's get started. So folks, I'm out here in the garden today, working, sweating, taking a moment to sit down and catch some shade, and I wanted to share with you what I've been thinking about and really what's on my heart, because we got some serious stuff coming our way. So friends, Kamala, the commie-in-chief, or at least the aspiring commie-in-chief, she decided that she was going to choose not a moderate, not someone who would balance the ticket, so to speak, but someone who is absolutely freaking insane leftist. The combination, I think Jesse Waters called him a combination between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, and it's true Walz. So why did they do this, and what is really going on, and what can we expect from the election? So in a video that I made a few weeks ago, I said that Kamala was going to be their pick. And most likely one of the reasons is because they knew they weren't going to win in a fair and honest election with Donald Trump, that they couldn't win. So if you know that you're not going to win and you're not going to cheat your way within 2 to 3 percentage points, and it would be too overt to try and take it by force with the votes being stolen, then what are you going to do? Well, the thing is, friends, at this point, they know that they can't win in a fair election against Donald Trump. They're not going to somehow get the presidency legitimately. So what are they going to do? They're going to, and I said this in previous videos, they are going to pick someone who is going to energize their base. Now, Kamala, of course, would energize their base, right? She's the estrogen vote. Well, why would they pick someone like Walz? Why would they pick someone who is a hardcore leftist, who is like an overt socialist, and someone who has made, I don't know how many trips to a communist dictatorship to try and learn effectively how things are done? Why him? Let me ask you a question. If you know that you're not going to win and you're not going to balance your ticket with a moderate, and you double down on the hardcore progressives, what are you hoping to get out of that? You're hoping to get the base energized. So let's be clear about this. If you know someone who's voting Democrat, they are voting to mutilate children. They're voting for complete slaughter and takedown of the innocent. They are voting for the undermining of everything that this nation is built upon. So when you've got the blue-haired woke weirdos now that are energized, what happens if they win, and what happens if they lose? Because when you energize a base, particularly one as mentally deranged as the people who are going to show up and vote for people like Kamala and Walz, these are not stable people mentally. These are not people who have accomplished anything in their life. What are they capable of? They showed you Walz's own home state. They showed you with burning down cities. They showed you with showing up and screeching to the top of their lungs and essentially destroying property of innocent people. What happens if people like that lose? Do you think that they're going to somehow summon hitherto unknown values of self-discipline and restraint? They're planning on this. They are planning on using that base, that galvanized, crazed mob that likes to destroy things and break things. Like, this is why we can't have nice stuff. That's who they're going to get to show up. So the question is, Donald Trump wins the election. What are they going to do? Now, Raskin has already effectively signaled what they're planning to do in this country. This actually behooves us to prepare, and I'm going to open that up a little bit more. Raskin has already signaled to you that they are expecting civil war, and that they are also expecting to invoke clauses of the Constitution, incorrectly applying them to Trump.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means.
They are going to try and take this nation down one way or the other. And there's no other reason behind it. Some people said that Obama is part of this, and that Obama is running things. Yeah, maybe, but this thing is so much bigger than him. Look at what's going on internationally right now and how this plays into things, and you'll understand very quickly. The world is about to be engulfed in fire. The reason why Raskin and his little demon minions, and why the full tilt retard woke left are getting energized right now, is because they're doing the bidding of people who are going to capitalize on the world burning. There's a lot of money to be made in the breakdown of societies. There's a lot of capital that's aggregated when people panic and they sell for pennies on the dollar. When real estate is reduced from buildings to cinders, it's a cheap buy for people who have cash on hand. And so when you look at the why behind things, the world is about to go through a major overturning of systems and a rocking of pretty much every previously reasonably sound system of government into anarchy, in a breakdown. And this anarchy is not from people on the streets per se. This is directed from the top down. In order for these very powerful people to capitalize on the breakdown of rule of law and really of the dissolution of representative forms of government, in order for them to capitalize it, the United States is going to have its hands full. So that's what they're planning. In order for them to consolidate their power and for other countries to make major moves for this next turning, they need us busy, they need us distracted, and then they need us so consumed with domestic turmoil that we as the United States don't have the ability to throw our weight around internationally, whether it's in China, Russia, Middle East. In order for the powers that be to get their way, they got to have people scrambling. So this is who is doing the dictating behind who Kamala picks. The fact that Kamala is now running as president on the Democrat Party platform ticket without a single vote being cast for her, this is no less than a coup and a treacherous breakdown of our electoral system. The whole system itself has been rather of a facade for some time, but the very fact that you would have so many people, and I don't believe that it's numerically half of the population of the United States, but the very fact that you have so many people beating the drum and chanting her name, having no democratic process to put her in power, and actually having an oligarchic appointed position that she's had, this shows you how very dangerous that these people are. The people who put Kamala in power are treasonous thugs. They have subverted the system that we have, the electoral process, to provide the people a voice, and they have appointed someone in. This is treasonous. This is an attempt to not only undermine our constitutional republic, but this is a complete and total takeover of the rule of law and the ability of people to exercise any type of sway over who represents them. I'm not surprised that it came from the Democrats, but friends, they are going to energize their base. They're going to get violent regardless of who wins. And so I'm planning on that. And part of my everyday preparedness is in more than just the beans and more than just the Band-Aids. Unfortunately, it's part of the bullets. And the reason for this is very clear, because this is not just confined, this turmoil that's coming to the United States. This is internationally, and we're seeing this in the UK right now. The UK is dealing with some serious problems. We have serious problems on our border with illegals. They have them on the boats. Britain as an island and as a landmass is much more densely populated than we are here in the United States. They don't have the ability to absorb these enormous amounts of people who are invading them as illegals. And they can't keep this on the treadmill like we can here. So what's happening is these mostly non-native and Muslim elements that are coming in there are murdering children, and they did that recently. And because of these 3 girls who were killed, and I believe their dance instructor and several other people who were injured, they were injured by a person who was not supposed to be there. And now the UK government is even taking steps to say that if you spread, not even if you create, but if you spread and if you share rhetoric that causes hate against people, then you can have essentially consequences and be charged for crimes.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
People are getting to the point now where they have nothing left to lose. And when you push a population, particularly a population of people who love their country, towards having nothing left to lose, they're going to become effectively fearless and not really caring if they're vulnerable or not. When you make it a crime for people to be pro-British, nationalism and being pro-British does not equal racism, but that's what they're conflating it as. That's what their government is conflating it as, and threatening to imprison people and charge people and fine people for sharing essentially pro-British sentiment. This is happening in Britain. There are other things happening across Europe. The world is about to explode in flames. So friends, I'm getting ready for it, and I expect that there's going to be trouble. I do not think that things are going to go off peacefully. Even if they do, we're going to have serious problems in the cities with radicalized elements who don't get their way. And when they don't have any more hair dyed blue and they don't have any more babies that they can easily, then they're going to burn stuff down and they're going to try and hurt people who don't see things the way that they do. And I'm going to be ready for it. So friends, that's what I have for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share this with one person who you think would benefit from it to be ready. We talk about the beans, bullets, and band-aids on this channel, friends, because this is what historically has allowed people to ride out siege warfare and to ride out other types of uncertainty and domestic turmoil, because war is coming. Whether we want it or not, war is coming, not only in the United States, but internationally as well. So we need to be ready for it. I hope the video was helpful for y'all. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to me here on YouTube, Patriot Nurse. You can also support me and stay with me on Patreon. Subscribe to Dark Cryptocurrency and PayPal. I have links below. If you want to train with me, you can train with me in person. I've got 2 classes you can train with me, the Foundations of Medical Prep and also the Herbal Preparedness class to get you guys ready if you can't train with me in person. Friends, we need to be doubling down and getting ready, because this is not going to get easier. This is not going to go peacefully unless some miracle happens. They are going to do everything that they can to destabilize and to energize their base to destroy things the way that they do best and the way that they've brought countries down before. Not going to happen on my watch, and I know it won't happen on yours. Let's be ready. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.